November 18th, 1944. Amsterdam, Netherlands. My daughter's cry was weak. Too weak. 3 months old, and she should have been screaming with the full force of her lungs, demanding food, attention, life. Instead, Anna's wail came out thin and reedy, like wind through a broken window. I held her against my chest, feeling her ribs through the blanket. She was starving. We were all starving. But babies die faster than adults, and Anna was dying. My name is Sophie Vanderberg. I am 24 years old, a mother of 2. And until 6 weeks ago, I believed the worst of the war was behind us. The Allies had liberated the South. We heard about victory parades in Eindhoven, about American soldiers handing out chocolate, about freedom spreading north. But then the train stopped. The food shipments stopped. The Germans punished us for a railway strike that was supposed to help the Allies, and now we were trapped in the hunger winter, with no food, no fuel, and no hope. If we can just hold on until spring, I wrote in my diary on November 1st. The Allies will reach us. We just have to survive until spring. But Anna couldn't wait until spring. She was dying now. If you're ready for a W-Twin story that will break your heart and then heal it, hit that subscribe button right now. Smash that like. Drop a comment. Did you know about the Dutch hunger winter? Most people don't know about the 20,000 who starved. Let's make sure this history isn't forgotten. Now, back to November 1944. I wasn't supposed to be a mother during an occupation. My husband Willem and I had planned to wait until after the war to have children. But life doesn't wait for convenient timing. Peter was born in 1942, during the occupation, but before things got truly desperate. He was 3 years old now, thin but alive, old enough to understand that we were hungry, but not old enough to understand why. Anna was born in August 1944. We'd timed it carefully. The Allies had landed in Normandy in June. By August, Paris was liberated. The war would be over by Christmas, everyone said. Our baby would be born into a world returning to peace. We were wrong. By September, the Allied advance had stalled. Operation Market Garden, the ambitious plan to capture bridges and end the war quickly, failed at Arnhem. Just 50 miles south of us, Canadian and British forces fought and died trying to reach Amsterdam. They didn't make it, and in retaliation for the Dutch railway strike supporting the Allied advance, the Germans cut off food shipments to the occupied Western Netherlands. 4 million people. Trapped. The hunger winter began. November 20th, 1944. Our ration was down to 580 calories per day for an adult. Peter got half that. Anna, nursing, needed my calories. But I had no calories to give. My milk was drying up. I felt it happening, day by day, as my body consumed itself trying to keep both of us alive, and Anna, desperate and starving, would latch on and cry when nothing came. "Mama, why is Anna crying?" Peter asked. His face was gaunt, eyes too large in his thin face. "She's hungry, Leafia. We're all hungry." He said it matter-of-factly, like hunger was just weather, just a condition of existence. Yes, I agreed. We are. Willem came home that evening with half a sugar beet he'd gotten in trade for his winter coat. Half a sugar beet. For a coat. "It's all I could find," he said, voice hollow. He was an engineer before the war, proud and capable. Now he spent his days searching for food, burning furniture for heat, trying to keep us alive one more day. We boiled the beet, split it 4 ways. It was the only food we'd had in 2 days. "When will the Canadians come?" Peter asked. "Soon." Willem lied. "He'll snell. Very soon." But we all knew the truth. The front had stalled at the rivers. The Allies were fighting in Belgium, in Germany, making slow progress through winter. They weren't coming to Amsterdam anytime soon. We were on our own. November 25th, 1944. Anna developed a fever. Her little body burned against mine, but we had no medicine. The pharmacies had been empty for months. The hospitals were operating on nothing but hope and resourcefulness. "She needs a doctor," I told Willem. "There are no doctors. They've all been conscripted or fled. There has to be someone." We asked neighbors, put out word. Finally, someone directed us to Dr. Jansen, an older man, still practicing in his apartment, treating patients for whatever they could trade. We had nothing to trade, but we went anyway. Dr. Jansen's office was freezing, no fuel for heat. He examined Anna by candlelight, his hands gentle despite being half frozen himself. She has an infection, he said quietly, probably from malnutrition weakening her immune system. She needs antibiotics. Penicillin, if possible. Do you have any? No. The Germans requisitioned all medical supplies months ago. I haven't had antibiotics since August. Then what do we do? He looked at me with sad, tired eyes. You keep her warm, keep her hydrated, and you pray. That's all any of us can do anymore. She's going to die, I said. Not a question, a statement. Many babies are dying, Mevrou. I'm sorry. I wish I could do more. December 1st, 1944. The temperature dropped. Snow fell. We burned our kitchen table for heat. Piece by piece. Burned books. Burned anything that would burn. Peter stopped asking when the Canadians would come. He just sat quietly, conserving energy, occasionally asking for water. Anna barely cried anymore. She was too weak. Her fever persisted. Her skin felt papery, fragile. I held her constantly, trying to will my body heat into hers, trying to keep her alive through sheer determination. Willem came home with extraordinary news. The resistance says the Allies are planning something. Food drops, maybe. They're negotiating with the Germans. The Germans won't allow it. They might. The war is turning. The Germans know they're losing. They might allow humanitarian aid to prevent uprising. It was a thin hope. But it was hope. When? I asked. No one knows. Soon, they say. Hold on. Hold on. As if holding on was something we controlled. As if we weren't already holding on with everything we had. December 10th, 1944. Anna stopped nursing. Not because I had no milk. I hadn't had milk for weeks. But because she was too weak to try. I tried to drip water into her mouth. Sugar water, when we had sugar. Anything to keep her hydrated. But she barely swallowed. Her eyes, Anna's beautiful brown eyes, had gone dull. She looked at me without seeming to see me, like she was already halfway to wherever babies go when they die. Willem, I said that night, I think we need to prepare. For what? For losing her. He was quiet for a long time. Then, no, we don't prepare for that. We fight until there's nothing left to fight with. What are we fighting with? We have no food, no medicine, no heat. What are we fighting with? Love, he said simply. We're fighting with love. It wasn't enough. Love doesn't cure infections. Love doesn't fill empty stomachs. But it was all we had. December 24th, 1944. Christmas Eve. There was no Christmas, no tree, no presents, no feast. Just hunger and cold and the slow erosion of hope. Peter asked, "Will Sinterklaas come?" "No, Shatya. Not this year. Because we've been bad?" "No. Because there's a war. I hate the war. So do I, my love. So do I." Anna lay in my arms, barely moving. Her breathing was shallow. Her fever hadn't broken. I didn't think she'd survive the night. I sang to her. Old Dutch lullabies my mother had sung to me. Slap kindje slap. Sleep, baby, sleep. My voice cracked with exhaustion and grief. But I sang anyway. Willem held Peter. We sat in the dark, conserving our last candle. A family of 4, who might be a family of 3 by morning. "I'm sorry," I whispered to Anna. "I'm so sorry, Kleintje. I tried. I tried so hard." She didn't respond, just breathed, shallow and weak, clinging to life by the thinnest thread. December 25th, 1944, Christmas morning. Anna was still alive. Barely, but alive. Peter woke first. "Mama, it's Christmas." "Yes, darling." "Did Sinterklaas come?" "No, I told you." "But look!" He pointed to the window. Snow had covered the city during the night, transforming the gray, starving streets into something almost beautiful. In that moment, with pale sunlight reflecting off white snow, Amsterdam looked peaceful, like the war didn't exist. "It's pretty," Peter said. "Yes," I agreed. "It's very pretty. It was the only Christmas gift we had. Snow, beauty, one more day of survival." January 1945, the worst month. Temperatures plunged. The canals froze solid. People stripped wooden fences for firewood, stripped trees, tore down abandoned buildings. The official ration dropped to 400 calories per day, but there was no food to distribute anyway. The The ration cards were worthless paper. People ate tulip bulbs. Added sugar beets meant for cattle feed. Added wallpaper paste. Anything with calories became food. I gave my portions to Peter. Willem gave his to me, trying to help me produce milk for Anna, but it was futile. My body had nothing left to give. Anna was failing. We all knew it. She barely moved now. Her cry was gone entirely. She just lay there, breathing, existing, holding on by pure stubbornness. She's strong, Willem said. Like her mother. I'm not strong. I'm just too tired to give up. That's what strength is. Continuing when you're too tired to continue. February 1945. 20,000 Dutch people died during the hunger winter. I know this now, from history books. At the time, we just knew that people were dying. Neighbors, friends, children. The cemetery was full, so they buried people in parks, in frozen ground that had to be broken with pickaxes. Mass graves, because there were too many bodies for individual burials. I thought constantly about Anna's grave. Where would we bury her? Could we even afford a burial? Would she end up in a mass grave, nameless, another statistic of starvation? The guilt was crushing. I had brought her into this world, into this hell. She would die without ever knowing anything but hunger and cold. What kind of mother does that? Stop, Willem said, reading my thoughts. You didn't cause this war. You didn't cause the occupation. You're not responsible for the Germans starving us, but I brought her into it. We brought her into it, together, because we believed in the future, because we refused to let the Nazis steal even that from us, the hope of children, of tomorrow. What if there is no tomorrow? Then at least we tried. March 1945. Rumors spread. The Allies were preparing a massive offensive. They'd cross the Rhine, push into Germany, end the war within months. But months was too long. Anna had days, maybe hours. One morning I woke to find her cold. Too cold, I screamed, a sound that came from somewhere primal and broken. Willem grabbed her, held her to the weak fire we'd managed to kindle, rubbed her limbs, trying to restore circulation. Breathe, he commanded. Anna, breathe, and impossibly she did. A tiny gasp. Then another. She was alive. But for how long? April 1st. 1945. The resistance brought news. Negotiations were underway for humanitarian aid. The Allies wanted to drop food. The Germans were considering allowing it. When? Everyone asked. When will it come? No one knew. Soon. Maybe. If the Germans agreed. If the Allies could spare the planes. If. Maybe. Soon. Words that meant nothing when your baby was dying. April 15th, 1945. I heard it first, a sound like distant thunder. Then louder. Engines. Multiple engines. Growing closer. Planes! Someone shouted in the street. We rushed outside. Everyone. The whole neighborhood. Despite the risk. German soldiers were supposed to shoot anyone gathering in groups. But even they came out to see. The sky filled with aircraft. British bombers. Not dropping bombs. Dropping packages. Parachutes bloomed like flowers. Hundreds of them. Drifting down over Amsterdam, over Rotterdam, over The Hague. Food, medicine, supplies. Operation Mana had begun. People wept in the streets, grabbed packages as they landed, tore them open with shaking hands. Bread, real bread, canned meat, chocolate, powdered milk, medical supplies, medical supplies. I ran, on legs weak from starvation, chasing a package that landed 2 streets over, fought through the crowd, grabbed a box labeled with a red cross. Inside, bandages, antiseptics, vitamins, and, oh God, antibiotics, penicillin. Real penicillin. I clutched it to my chest and ran home, crying, laughing, not believing this was real. April 15th, 1945, 3 p.m. Dr. Jansen came to our apartment. We'd sent word, begged him to come, offered him half our food rations, anything, just come. He examined Anna with shaking hands. She was barely conscious, her fever raging, her body giving up. The infection is advanced, he said quietly. I don't know if, please, I begged. Please try. He prepared the injection. I have to tell you, she's very weak. The medicine might not work. She might be too far gone. I understand. Please. He administered the penicillin. A tiny needle in Anna's impossibly thin thigh. She didn't even cry. Too weak to protest. Now we wait, Dr. Jansen said. Keep her warm. Get fluid into her if you can. And we wait. We waited. April 16th, 1945. 2 a.m. Anna's fever broke. I was dozing, exhausted when I felt it. Her body cooling, temperature dropping from the dangerous heights to something almost normal. Then she cried. A real cry. Weak, but real. Demanding. Angry. She was hungry. Willem. I shook him awake. Willem. She's crying. She's crying. He sat up, disoriented. Then he heard it too. That beautiful, normal sound of a baby demanding food. I had no milk, but we had powdered milk from the airdrop. We mixed it with boiled water. Precious water, but we used it anyway. I dripped it into Anna's mouth. She drank. Not much, but she drank. Swallowed. Lived. She's going to make it. Willem whispered. Yes, I said, crying again. She's going to make it. April 29th, 1945. Operation Manna continues. The airdrops came daily now. The Allies, British, Canadian, American, flying missions of mercy instead of missions of war, dropping food on their enemies' occupied territory because people were starving. The German soldiers watched, but didn't interfere. The war was clearly ending. Even they knew it. What was the point of preventing humanitarian aid when the Reich was collapsing? Anna grew stronger every day. She'd gained weight. Not much, but visible. Her eyes were bright again. Her cry was strong. She was going to survive. Peter, too, transformed. With real food in his belly, he became a child again. Playing, asking questions, laughing. The haunted look faded from his eyes. When will the Canadians come? He asked again. But now the question had hope in it, instead of despair. Very soon, Willem said. And this time, it wasn't a lie. May 5th, 1945. Liberation Day. The German forces in the Netherlands surrendered. Canadian troops rolled into Amsterdam. Actual soldiers, in person, not just parachuted supplies. The streets exploded with joy. Orange flags appeared from nowhere. Hidden for 5 years, finally unfurled. People danced, sang, wept with relief. I stood in the street with Anna in my arms, Peter clinging to my leg, Willem beside me, watching the Canadian tanks roll past, watching liberation arrive. A young Canadian soldier, couldn't have been more than 20, stopped his jeep near us. He looked at Anna, then at me. How old? He asked in English. 9 months, I answered in my broken English. She almost die. American medicine save her. He reached into his pack and pulled out a chocolate bar, handed it to Peter. From Canada. For you, buddy. Peter took it with wide eyes. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you, the soldier said, for holding on, for surviving. That took real courage. He drove on. We stood there holding chocolate and freedom, Anna alive in my arms. And I thought, we made it, impossibly. Against all odds, we made it. May 8th, 1945. VE Day. The war in Europe was officially over. Germany had surrendered. The nightmare was ending. But the trauma remained. Amsterdam was starving, damaged, traumatized. 20,000 dead from the hunger winter alone. Countless more from 5 years of occupation. We'd survived, but we were broken. And yet, Anna was alive, thriving on the food aid that continued to pour in. Her cheeks were filling out. She was starting to smile, starting to look like the baby she should have been all along. We need to do something, I told Willem. What do you mean? For the Americans, the British, the Canadians. They saved her. They saved all of us. We need to thank them properly. What can we do? We have nothing. We have our story. We tell it. We make sure people know what they did. May 15th, 1945. I wrote a letter. In my careful, broken English, Dear American and British and Canadian soldiers, my name is Sophie van der Berg. I am mother in Amsterdam. My baby Anna was dying in April. We had no food, no medicine, no hope. Then you came. Not with guns, with food, with medicine. You dropped from sky what we needed to live. My daughter is alive because of you. She has future because you chose mercy over revenge. You could have let us starve. We were enemy territory, but you saved us anyway. Thank you. I cannot say it enough. Thank you. I will teach my children about this. About the hunger winter, yes, but also about the mercy that ended it. About the soldiers who brought food instead of bombs. About the penicillin that saved my daughter. You are heroes. Not because you won the war, because you saved the children of your enemies. With all my gratitude, Sophie Vanderberg, Amsterdam, Netherlands. I never knew if that letter reached anyone. Never got a response. But I wrote it anyway, because gratitude that isn't expressed isn't fully gratitude. June 1945. Amsterdam slowly recovered. Food was still scarce, but no longer non-existent. The Canadian military provided supplies. Aid organizations set up distribution centers. Slowly, painfully, we climbed back toward normalcy. Anna's 9-month checkup with Dr. Jansen brought tears to his eyes. She's perfect, he said. Healthy, developing well, no lasting damage from the malnutrition or infection. He looked at me. You know how rare that is? Most babies who got that sick didn't survive. And of those who survived, many have permanent problems. The penicillin saved her. The penicillin helped, but you saved her. You kept her alive until the medicine came. You didn't give up. I couldn't give up. She's my daughter. Many mothers faced the same choice. Not all of them had your strength. He paused. Or your luck. The airdrops came just in time. 1 more week, maybe 2, and it would have been too late for many children. I know. I thought about that often. 1 more week. If Operation Manna had been delayed. If the negotiations had failed. If the Germans had refused. If, Anna would be dead, along with thousands of other Dutch children. But she wasn't dead. She was alive, growing, thriving. A living testament to the mercy of strangers who decided that even enemy children deserved to live. July 1945. I started volunteering at a distribution center, helping allocate food and supplies to families still struggling. It was my way of passing on the mercy we'd received. One day, a young mother came in with a sick baby, fever, infection. The same symptoms Anna had had in April. We have antibiotics, I told her. From the Allies. We can help. Her relief was total and immediate. She wept. I held her while medical staff treated her baby. My daughter was just like yours, I said. Dying. The Americans brought medicine that saved her. Now that medicine saves your son. They saved him. They saved all of us. August 1945. Japan surrendered. The entire war, the whole 6-year nightmare, was finally over. Amsterdam celebrated again, though more quietly this time. We were exhausted, traumatized, beginning the long process of healing. Anna turned 1 year old. 1 year. She'd been alive for 12 months, though 3 of those months were spent dying, and 1 month was spent being saved. We had a small party. Family and neighbors. Real food, not abundant, but real. Cake made with precious ingredients we'd saved. Candles we'd somehow found. Anna laughed. Actually laughed. A sound of pure joy that cut through all the darkness of the past year. To Anna, Willem said, raising a cup of weak tea, who survived the hunger winter, who proved that hope matters, who's going to grow up in a world at peace. To Anna, we echoed, and to the pilots who'd dropped the food, to the scientists who'd made the penicillin, to the soldiers who'd chosen mercy, to everyone who'd helped a Dutch baby survive when the world was trying to kill her. September 1945. I wrote again, this time to the British Bomber Command, the American Air Force, anyone who might read it. My daughter is 1 year old today. She should be dead. Your medicine saved her. Your food saved us all. Thank you will never be enough, but it's what I have. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's where the first year ended. Anna alive. Our family intact. The war over. But the journey of gratitude, of making sure the world knew what mercy had accomplished, was just beginning. Spring 1946. Anna took her first steps in a house that finally had heat again. Wobbling, uncertain, grabbing onto furniture, but walking. Moving forward. Living. I watched her toddle across the floor. Round-cheeked now, healthy, no trace of the skeletal baby who'd nearly died 16 months earlier, and felt the weight of impossible gratitude. She shouldn't exist. By all logic, by all probability, she should have died during the hunger winter. Thousands of Dutch babies did. But Anna lived because strangers in airplanes had decided that enemy children deserved medicine. "Mama, watch me," Peter called. He was teaching Anna to clap hands, patient and protective with his little sister. "I'm watching, Schatje." Willem came home from work. Real work now, engineering again, helping rebuild Amsterdam's infrastructure. "The Van Houten baby died," he said quietly. "Complications from the malnutrition. Too much damage to the organs. Another one." The hunger winter kept claiming victims even after the food returned. Bodies too damaged to recover. Children who'd survived starvation only to die from its aftermath. Anna could have been... But she wasn't, Willem said firmly. "She's here. She's healthy. We have to focus on that." But I couldn't stop thinking about the Van Houten baby. About all the babies who didn't make it. About the razor-thin margin between Anna's survival and their deaths. Timing. Pure luck. The airdrops coming exactly when they did, not a week earlier or later. The penicillin being in that specific package. Dr. Jansen still being alive and able to administer it. So many variables. Any one of them different, and Anna would be dead. Summer 1946. I started speaking at schools. The government had asked survivors of the hunger winter to share their stories, to document what had happened, to ensure it would never be forgotten. My daughter nearly died. I told a room full of Dutch teenagers who'd been children during the occupation. She had an infection. No medicine. No hope. Then the Allied planes came. I showed them a photograph. Anna at 9 months, skeletal and dying, taken just days before the airdrops began. Then a photo from 3 months later. The same baby, healthy and smiling. "This is what mercy looks like," I said. "The Allies could have left us to starve. We were enemy territory. But they chose to save us instead." "Why?" a student asked. "Why help their enemies?" "Because," I said slowly, "they understood something important. Children aren't enemies. Civilians aren't enemies. And even if we were, even if every Dutch person had supported the Nazis, starving children is never justice. It's just cruelty. So what do we do with that? We remember. We tell the story. And we try to be the kind of people who would make the same choice they made." The first Canadian veteran visit, 1947. The Canadian government organized trips for liberation veterans to visit the Netherlands, to see the country they'd freed, to meet the people they'd saved. I heard about a reception in Amsterdam for returning soldiers. Brought Anna, now 2 years old, blonde and energetic, and completely unaware of how close she'd come to not existing. A young man approached us. Maybe 25, with kind eyes and a maple leaf patch on his jacket. "I was here for the liberation," he said in English. "April and May 45. I remember the children, how thin they were, how hungry. My daughter was one of those children," I said in careful English. "The medicine you brought saved her life." He looked at Anna, chasing Peter around the room, laughing, and his eyes filled with tears. "We didn't know if the airdrops would work," he said. "If we'd get there in time. If the medicine would reach the people who needed it." He crouched down to Anna's level. "Hey there, sweetheart. What's your name?" "Anna," she said shyly. "Anna. That's a beautiful name." He looked up at me. "Thank you for bringing her. For showing me that it mattered. What we did. It mattered," I said. "More than you can possibly know." Winter 1948. The Marshall Plan began. American aid rebuilding Europe. The Netherlands received millions in assistance, food, materials, investment. Some people complained. Why should we be grateful to the Americans? They didn't liberate us. The Canadians and British did. But I remembered those airplane engines, the parachutes blooming over Amsterdam, the American penicillin that saved my daughter. They all saved us, I said. British, Canadian, American. They all made choices that kept us alive. But we're an independent country. We shouldn't need foreign charity. It's not charity, I argued. It's an investment in peace. They're helping us rebuild so we don't collapse into chaos and create another war. You sound like an American propaganda minister. No, I said. I sound like a mother who watched her baby dying and saw Mercy arrive in a parachute. There's a difference. Anna starts school, 1950. Anna was 5, starting primary school. Healthy, curious, showing no effects from her near-death experience. She didn't remember the hunger winter. Too young. For her, it was just a story Mama told. But I remembered. Every time I packed her school lunch, real bread, real cheese, and apple. I remembered the winter when we had nothing, when I would have killed for a slice of bread to give her. "Why do you always cry when you make my lunch?" Anna asked one morning. "Because I'm happy, Kleintje." "Why does happy make you cry?" "Because some happiness is so big, it has to come out somehow." She accepted this with a child's logic. Adults were strange. Crying from happiness made no more sense than any of the other inexplicable things adults did. At school, the teacher asked students about the war. Most children had stories. Fathers who'd been in the resistance, families who'd hidden Jewish neighbors, hunger and fear and occupation. Anna came home confused. "Teacher says I almost died in the war. Is that true?" I knelt down to her level. "Yes, Liefje. You were very sick, but the doctors made you better." "How?" "With medicine from airplanes." "Airplanes give medicine?" "These ones did. They dropped food and medicine from the sky because we needed help." "That's silly." "Airplanes drop bombs." "Usually, yes. But sometimes, when the war is ending and people need help, sometimes airplanes drop help instead." She thought about this. "I'm glad they helped me. So am I, Anna." "So am I." The first letter to a pilot. 1952. Through veterans organizations, I tracked down the squadron that had flown over Amsterdam during Operation Manna. Wrote a letter to the commanding officer. "Dear Sir, I don't know if you remember April 1945. I don't know if one flight of mercy stands out among many, but I need you to know what you did. My daughter was dying. Your planes brought the medicine that saved her. She's 7 years old now. Healthy. Happy. Learning to read. She has a future because you chose mercy. I tell her story to schools. To anyone who will listen, I want people to know that war doesn't have to end with revenge. That victors can choose mercy. That small acts of kindness can save lives. Thank you doesn't feel like enough, but it's what I have. Thank you for saving my daughter. Thank you for showing me that humanity persists even in war. With eternal gratitude, Sophie van der Berg, Amsterdam." The response came 3 months later. "Dear Mrs. van der Berg, I remember those missions. We flew low over Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague. Saw the people in the streets waving, crying. We knew people were starving. Knew children were dying. We were just following orders to drop supplies. But knowing it worked, knowing your daughter survived because of what we did, that means everything. Please tell Anna her life mattered enough that we risked missions to save her. Tell her that even in war, people can choose mercy. Tell her to pass that lesson on. With respect, Squadron Leader James Patterson, Royal Air Force, retired." I framed that letter, hung it in our home. Anna read it when she was old enough to understand. Anna's 10th birthday, 1955. We celebrated with a party, neighborhood children, real cake, decorations. A normal childhood birthday that would have been impossible to imagine 10 years earlier. Anna opened presents. Books, a doll, a bicycle. Things we could finally afford now that the Netherlands had recovered economically. "Make a wish," I told her as she prepared to blow out candles. She closed her eyes, blew, then looked at me seriously. "Mama, I wish that all the children who died in the war could have birthdays too." My heart broke and swelled simultaneously. "That's a beautiful wish, Liefje. Teacher says thousands of children died in the hunger winter." "Is that true?" "Yes. Why did I survive when they didn't?" It was the question I'd been asking myself for 10 years. Why Anna? Why us? What made us special or deserving? I don't know. I admitted. Timing, maybe. Luck. The airdrops came exactly when you needed them. A week earlier, you wouldn't have been sick enough to need the medicine yet. A week later, you might have died before it arrived. So, it was just luck? Partly. But also choices. The Allies chose to drop supplies. Dr. Jansen chose to come help even though we couldn't pay. Your father and I chose to keep fighting for you even when it seemed hopeless. Lots of people made choices that saved you. I'm going to make good choices too, she said seriously. Since I got to live and others didn't, I should make it count. 10 years old, and already understanding what it meant to be a survivor. Speaking tour, 1958. The government sponsored a tour. Survivors sharing their stories across the Netherlands, keeping the memory of the hunger winter alive. I traveled to Rotterdam, The Hague, Utrecht, Groningen. Showed Anna's before and after photos. Told the story of the airdrops, the medicine, the mercy. In Rotterdam, an old woman approached me after my talk. My granddaughter died during the hunger winter. She was 8 months old. Same infection your daughter had. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry, just tell me, why did your daughter live? The airdrops came in time. We got medicine. We didn't. The package landed 2 streets away. By the time we got there, everything was gone. She wiped her eyes. 2 streets. That's the difference between life and death. I didn't know what to say. Sorry felt inadequate. There was no fair answer to why Anna lived and her granddaughter died. Tell her story, the woman said. Tell everyone. Make sure people know what those airdrops meant. My granddaughter didn't get saved, but thousands did. That matters. I will, I promised. I'll keep telling it. Anna graduates secondary school, 1963. Anna was 18, accepted to university to study medicine. She wanted to become a pediatrician, work with children, help them survive. It's because of what happened to you, isn't it? I asked. Partly. But also because of what you told me. About Dr. Jansen coming with no payment, about the allied doctors who created the medicine, about everyone who made choices to help. She smiled. I want to make those choices too. You already do. At her graduation, I thought about the teenage girls who died during the hunger winter, who never got to graduate, go to university, become anything. Anna was living the future they'd been denied. I hope I make them proud, she said when I shared this thought. You already have. The first reunion, 1965. 20 years after liberation, the Netherlands organized a massive reunion. Veterans from Britain, Canada, America, returning to commemorate the anniversary. Thousands of them. Anna came with me, now 20, a university student. Beautiful and healthy and alive. We met Squadron Leader Patterson, now retired, gray-haired, but still with those kind eyes. He'd flown in from England specifically for the reunion. You're Anna? He asked, voice shaking slightly. Yes, sir. I saw your baby photo, in your mother's letters. But seeing you now, grown, healthy. He stopped, overcome. Anna did something I didn't expect. She hugged him. Thank you for saving me. I didn't save you alone. It was... I know, lots of people. But you were one of them, and I'm here because of people like you making choices to help. She stepped back. I'm studying medicine. I want to help children the way I was helped. He wiped his eyes. That's the best possible outcome. Not just surviving, but using that survival to help others. Mama taught me that survivors have responsibilities. Your mother is a wise woman. Anna becomes a doctor. 1970. Anna finished medical school. Became Dr. Anna van der Berg, pediatrician. Opened a practice in Amsterdam, treating children, some from immigrant families fleeing their own wars and traumas. I see so many children who remind me of what I was, she told me. Malnourished, sick, traumatized. And I think someone gave me a chance. I have to give them chances too. You're living the mercy you received. That's the only way it makes sense. That's the only way to honor all the children who didn't make it. She treated patients regardless of their ability to pay, stayed late, made house calls, gave her all to children who needed her. You're going to burn out, I warned. Maybe, but I'm alive to burn out. That's more than 20,000 Dutch children got. The survivor's burden. The weight of living when others died. Anna carried it with grace and purpose. Silver anniversary of liberation, 1970. 25 years. A quarter century of peace. Anna was 25, the same age I'd been when I nearly lost her. The commemorations were massive. More veterans returning. More survivors sharing stories. The Dutch people honoring those who'd liberated them. I was invited to speak at the main ceremony in Amsterdam. Thousands in attendance, including Dutch royalty, Allied veterans, and survivors. I stood at the podium with Anna beside me. Tangible proof of mercy's power. 25 years ago, I said, my daughter was dying. The hunger winter was killing thousands. We had no hope. Then Allied planes appeared over our cities, not with bombs, but with food and medicine. I gestured to Anna. This is what mercy looks like. A healthy woman who should be dead. A doctor who saves children because she was saved. A living testament to the power of choosing humanity over revenge. The pilots who flew those missions couldn't know which specific lives they'd save. They just knew people were dying and they could help. That's what mercy is. Helping without knowing the exact outcome, just knowing it's the right thing to do. To all the veterans here today, you didn't just liberate a country. You saved a generation. You gave us our children back. And those children have built lives, raised families, created futures. Thank you will never be adequate, but it's what we have. Thank you for choosing mercy. Thank you for showing us that even enemies can be redeemed. Thank you for my daughter's life. The applause was thunderous. But more meaningful were the veterans who approached afterward, crying, hugging Anna, saying, I'm so glad you made it. Golden Anniversary, 1995. 50 years. Anna was 50 now, a grandmother herself. Her children had grown up hearing the story. How Oma Sophie nearly lost baby Anna during the war. How Allied mercy saved her. I was 75, slowing down, but still telling the story, still insisting people remember. The commemorations were massive. Fewer veterans now. Time had claimed many. But those who remained were celebrated as heroes. Patterson returned, now 91, frail but determined. I had to come, he said. One more time, to see Anna, to see what we accomplished. Anna introduced him to her grandchildren. This man helped save my life, which means he helped create yours. The children, too young to fully grasp the weight of it, thanked him politely. They don't understand yet, Patterson said. But someday they will. Someday they'll realize how close they came to not existing. That's okay, Anna said. The important thing is they exist. That mercy created a future. The letter I saved, 2000. I was 80, organizing my papers, preparing for the inevitable. Found the letter I'd written to Anna in April 1945, when I thought she was dying. My darling Anna, if you're reading this, it means you survived. It means the miracle I prayed for happened. It means you have a future. Know that you were loved. Know that we fought for you with everything we had. Know that even in the darkest winter, we never stopped believing you could live. If you don't survive, if this letter just becomes a memorial, know that your life mattered. Every breath you took was precious. Every moment you existed was worth the struggle. I hope you read this as an old woman, surrounded by children and grandchildren, living the full life we fought to give you. I hope you use your survival to help others. I hope you pass on the mercy we received. I hope. I hope. I hope. With all my love, your Mama. Anna found me crying over it. I survived, Mama. I read it as an old woman. You got your wish. I know. But I remember writing it. Remember thinking I'd never get to see you grow up. But you did. We both did. Because of mercy. Because people we'd never met decided Dutch children deserved to live. I know. I've spent my whole life trying to pay that forward. You have, Leafia. You absolutely have. The last veteran meeting. 2005. 60 years after liberation. Most veterans were gone now. Those who remained were in their 80s and 90s, fragile but proud. Patterson had died 2 years earlier. His children came in his place, bringing his RAF uniform and medals. Dad talked about Operation Mana until the end, his daughter said. About the people waving from the streets, about knowing they were saving lives. It was the mission that mattered most to him. Anna held the uniform carefully. Your father gave me my life. I've tried to honor that. He knew. We showed him articles about you. Dr. Anna Vanderberg, pediatrician, saving children. He was so proud. I wish I could thank him one more time. You did. Every child you saved was a thank you. Every life you touched was honoring what he did. Anna's retirement. 2010. Anna retired from medicine at 65. 40 years of practicing pediatrics. Thousands of children treated. Countless lives saved or improved. At her retirement party, former patients came. Now adults with children of their own. Dr. Vanderberg saved my life when I was 6. One said, "Caught a heart defect no one else noticed. She treated me for free when my family had no money." Another shared, "Never made us feel ashamed. She always had time. Always listened. Always cared." Anna cried, listening to them. "I was just doing what was done for me." "No," I corrected. "You were multiplying mercy. One act of kindness saved you. You turned that into thousands of acts of kindness. That's not just repaying a debt. That's creating a legacy." My last letter, 2012. I was 87, dying, writing final letters to my children and grandchildren. To Anna, I wrote, "Dearest Anna, when you were 3 months old and dying, I made you a promise. If you survived, I would make sure the world knew about the mercy that saved you. I kept that promise. I've told your story hundreds of times. In schools, at commemorations, in letters and interviews, I've made sure people know that Allied Mercy saved Dutch children. But now it's your turn. You're 67. You've already spent a lifetime honoring the gift of your survival, but the story must continue. Tell your grandchildren. Write it down. Make sure future generations know that mercy matters, that choices made during war affect peace for decades, that saving one life creates ripples across time. You are worth saving. Every child is worth saving. That's the lesson. Pass it on. With all my love, Mama." I died 3 days later, peacefully, holding Anna's hand, knowing the story would continue. Epilogue, 2015. 70 years after liberation. Anna stood at the podium in Amsterdam, now 70, white-haired but strong. Her grandchildren in the audience, some of her former patients, and a handful of very old veterans who'd made the journey one more time. "My mother died 3 years ago," Anna said. "She made me promise to keep telling this story. So here it is. In the winter of 1945, I was dying. The hunger winter was killing Dutch children by the thousands. I should have been one of them. But Allied planes appeared over Amsterdam. They dropped food and medicine, including penicillin. The penicillin that saved my life. I'm 70 years old. I have children and grandchildren. I practiced medicine for 40 years. I've helped thousands of children. None of that would exist if not for the mercy shown in April 1945, if not for pilots who chose to save children instead of letting them die, if not for soldiers who understood that enemies are temporary, but mercy is permanent. My mother spent her life saying thank you. Now I'll spend mine doing the same, not just saying it, but living it, treating it as a sacred trust, because I was saved, and the only way to honor that is to keep saving others. That's what mercy does. It doesn't just save one life. It saves all the lives that life will touch. It creates futures that wouldn't otherwise exist. So to all the veterans, living and dead, thank you. Not just from me, but from everyone whose existence was made possible by your choice to help. And to everyone here today, remember this: when you have the power to help or hurt, to show mercy or take revenge, choose mercy. Because mercy doesn't just change the present, it creates futures. She held up a photo, the skeletal baby from April 1945, and a recent photo of herself with her grandchildren. This is what mercy looks like. 70 years of life, 40 years of helping others, 3 generations who exist because someone chose to drop medicine instead of bombs. Choose mercy. Always choose mercy. If this story changed how you think about war, mercy, and the ripple effects of kindness, subscribe to this channel immediately. Hit that like button. Share this video with everyone you know, because this isn't just a story about World War II. It's a blueprint for how to handle conflict in any time, how to treat enemies, how to choose what kind of victor you want to be. Anna lived because pilots chose mercy. Then she spent 70 years multiplying that mercy, saving children who saved children who saved children. One act of kindness creating infinite ripples. So here's my challenge. What mercy can you show today? What kindness can you offer that might ripple forward for decades? What child, literal or metaphorical, can you save? Because you have that power. We all do. Every day we make choices between mercy and revenge, between helping and hurting, between creating futures and destroying them. Choose mercy. Document it. Pass it on. Subscribe. Share. Comment. Tell me about a time someone showed you mercy that changed your life. Let's build a record of kindness that outlasts us. Remember, Healed people heal people. Anna proved it. You can too. What will your legacy of mercy be? This story is based on documented experiences during the Dutch Hunger Winter of 1944-45, which killed approximately 20,000 people. Operation Manna, British, and Operation Chowhound, American, dropped over 11,000 tons of food to the starving Dutch population in April or May 1945. While Sophie and Anna Vanderberg are composite characters, their experiences reflect thousands of verified stories from that desperate time and the mercy that ended it.